Hello, music fans, and welcome. Today, I'd like to talk about a really cool band called TheFront. TheFront was formed in 1984. They had 5 members, 2 of which were brothers. They featured, of course, guitar, bass, drums, vocals, and a keyboard player. This is the self-titled album. Like I said, they formed in Kansas City in 1984, and this album was released in late 1989. And how did I first hear about it? It was on Headbangers Ball on MTV back in the day when they played great music. It's one of the very few bands and singles. The first single was called Fire. It's the first track off the album. It was featured also on 120 Minutes, which was more of an alternative, I believe it was Matt Pinfield, alternative music. So this kind of cross genres. Now I'll tell you right away, this has a cult following. A lot of people love this album, and it does get a lot of attention on YouTube. There are I believe each track from the album is posted and well loved. So many people don't know about this album, and for those of you that don't, if you love 80s music, this came out in the late 80s, and let me show you what I feel that it's influenced by, and a lot of other people are hearing the same thing. You've got a dash of Michael Hutchence, a dash of In Excess. This is one of my favorite In Excess albums. A dash of Michael Hutchence. A whole lot of Jim Morrison. Okay, you got a whole lot of Jim Morrison going on in the vocals. Outstanding guitar, bass, drums. There's some really cool 12-string stuff, really cool keys. There's some kind of eerie stuff, some 60s influence. What do I hear a whole lot of? It's one of my favorite bands. I've seen them live, I think, 5 times. My favorite was at the Orpheum. I saw the Sonic Temple tour, Orpheum in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Great place to see a concert to this day. Reminds me a whole lot of The Cult, Ian Astbury, Billy Duffy, and so on. This is my favorite Cult album. I'm a first album guy. I know they had previous incarnations, Southern Death Cult and the Death Cult. Cool stuff. A lot of people love the stuff after this, Electric, Sonic Temple. I love. It's when I discovered them, they were a bit more new wave here still, and it's just a phenomenal album. So with TheFront, you're gonna hear a lot of the Cult, that type sound. Are they copying the Cult? I wouldn't say that they're copying the Cult. They had their own thing going, and when they made their music, that is what it started to sound like. Here is the Front album. There's side 1. Got it in plastic. Of course, I don't want to touch it too much. Interesting about this album is that I believe it was the final 45 ever released, really back at that time anyhow, on Columbia Records. The 2 singles were, first off was Fire, which got on the heavy rotation on MTV, and the second was La Motion. La Motion, I believe, was the final 45 on this Columbia record label, probably for very many years. This happened right towards the time when vinyl was being phased out. It was an unfortunate thing, and of course, it came back in a strong way, as we all know and love. So I keep showing this album cover. It sounds kind of like the cover looks. So if you see this album, grab it. There's sometimes are some on eBay. Quite often there's none, and there can be bidding wars on it. And so it's just a highly enjoyable, great album. And there's other artists that it definitely sounds like. Okay, and that artist would most certainly be Billy Idol. Did a little deep dive on some Billy Idol before on one of my videos for the Cars. There's actually a tie-in because Rick Ocasek can be pronounced either way, worked with Steve Stevens of Billy Idol fame. There's Steve Stevens, worked with him on his solo album, one of his solo albums anyhow. So anyway, if you're interested in any of those bands, if you like The Cult, if you like Billy Idol, if you like some rockin' tunes with a huge Doors influence, maybe some other 70s influences going on, even 60s influence, you most certainly will like TheFront. We can talk a little bit about the songs too. Of course, the first song I ever heard was Fire, revved up, awesome, one of their best songs. That's track one, Sunshine Girl. I thought was really good, good enough to be a single. People thought these guys would be just huge, huge. Fire, I think, hit 29 on the Billboard charts, so they were becoming well known. Pain, Pain is really sounding like Jim Morrison. Sweet Addiction, Ritual is the last song. L'Emotion, that was the second single that kicks off side two. And Sister Moon, another really, really cool 60s influence song, very cult sounding. In the Garden. Then we go on to Violent World. Violent World has this almost Batman type thing where all of a sudden I am the Joker. This voiceover happens. Violent World, sadly, still applies today and is a really cool rocker. Then it ends with Sin. Sin, maybe more of the In Excess vibe on that one. So again, if you love the Doors, if you love some rockin' 80s music, this is kind of before grunge happened, just before grunge happened. If you love albums like this or bands like this, Billy Idol sometimes gets a bad rap. He's on the radio all the time. I kind of already said that on some of my other videos. I dig Billy Idol. I dig the rocking attitude. I love the music. Steve Stevens is phenomenal. If you're into that sort of thing, most certainly you would want to check out TheFront. So it's highly suggested. A lot of people already know it, and a lot of people appreciate it. Maybe some people haven't heard it in a few years. So I want to give a shout out and a thank you to all subscribers and people who are participating in my channel and putting out their own vinyl footage and posts and videos. Thank you. Thanks for coming along on this journey with me today. Hope you enjoy TheFront, and we'll get you a quick little preview behind me. We're going to show every album in this collection. That's coming up real soon. And maybe check out some of our other videos too. So thanks again, and we'll catch you on the flip side.